A Night at the Opera is the fourth studio album by British rock band Queen, released in November 1975. Co-produced by Roy Thomas Baker and Queen, and considered the most expensive album to date. It contains several of the band's most famous songs, such as Bohemian Rhapsody, You're My Best Friend, I'm in Love with My Car, and Love of My Life. The album takes its name from the Marx Brothers film A Night at the Opera, which the band watched one night at the studio complex during recording. The album is best known for having the hits Bohemian Rhapsody and You're My Best Friend, as well as other well-known songs by the group such as Love of My Life, Death on Two Legs, dedicated to the Prophet song, I'm in Love with My Car, and May and Taylor's version of the British anthem. Upon its release, the album was met with mixed reviews, although its production and song diversity were praised, and it was hailed as the album that elevated Queen to superstar status. In 1977, it received 2 Grammy nominations for Best Vocal Performance by a Duo or Group and Best Vocal Arrangement. After finishing their previous album, Sheer Heart Attack, Queen went on a short local tour and then took a short holiday, which included John Deacon's wedding and Brian May's trip to Tenerife to study astronomy. After that, they went to the United States, then a holiday in Hawaii, and then their first visit to Japan, from which they returned in May. They took some time off of their personal lives, and in early August, went to Elstree Studios in Hertfordshire to rehearse. One important aspect is that they changed managers after their relationship with Trident ended and they signed with EMI. Their new manager, John Reed, persuaded the record company to give them huge amounts of money so they could record the best album possible, knowing full well that it was a risk, but fortunately for the band, it was worth taking, as thanks to the investment, Queen and EMI were able to rent numerous studios of the highest quality. With a new producer and free from the emotional and financial pressures experienced under the previous ones, Queen returned to the recording studio with renewed strength, starting over and practically with carte blanche to deliver any kind of music they wanted. They could now focus on creating the best music, without any of the worries that had plagued its members before. Although they were already on their own, it is well known that much depended on the outcome of the opera sessions. If the album that emerged from them had not worked, Queen would surely have broken up. Despite having had 2 top 10 albums and significant international success with the singles 7 Seas of Rye and Killer Queen, and having sold out concerts all over Britain, the band were in serious financial difficulties by early 1975. Recording and touring incessantly for 3 whole years had not brought the rewards that the band believed they deserved. In fact, up to that point in their lives, Roger, John, Brian, and Freddie had been scraping by on a shoestring, only what their record company had been willing to offer them. The actual sessions began on August 24th at Rockfield Studios in South Wales, during which they recorded the backing tracks for the songs, piano, bass, and drums mostly. They then went to London and rented Olympic, SARM, Scorpio, and Lansdowne studios simultaneously, as well as the Roundhouse Concert Hall. The reason they rented multiple studios was that one or more of the band members could be working on one song and the others on another at the same time without having to sit around waiting for each to finish. There was also a question of proximity, as all the studios were within 20 minutes or less by car of each of the members' homes, who already lived very close by. And then there were some studios that sounded better for one thing but not for another. Queen never liked the way vocals came out at Rockfield in Wales, so when it came to singing they recorded in London. The central hub for this album was SARM Studios, later renamed SARM East, which had excellent acoustics due to being designed by a professional pianist and having been used for, among other things, the famous musical Rocky Horror Picture Show a few months earlier. The whole album was mixed there, and numerous recordings were made there, including parts of Prophet's song and Death on Two Legs. Songs. Death on Two Legs, dedicated to a song written by Freddie Mercury, addressed to the band's former manager, who had stolen the band's share of the earnings in violation of the contract. Lazing on a Sunday Afternoon, a laid-back song written by Freddie Mercury with a great guitar solo at the end. Freddie sang through a beer mug. It is one of the band's shortest songs. I'm in Love with My Car, a Roger Taylor composition expressing love for his Alfa Romeo. Roger locked himself in a cupboard until vocalist Freddie put the song on as the B-side of the Bohemian Rhapsody single. You're My Best Friend. This song was written by John Deacon for his wife. The electric piano is played by John and not by Freddie because Freddie didn't like the sound of it. 39. In this song, Brian May brings together two of his passions, astronomy and music. It tells the story of a group of astronauts who go into space for a century, while for them it was only a year. Brian made a joke about including a double bass in the song. When they arrived at the studios the next day, John was practicing with one, so they decided to use it. Sweet Lady, the most rock song on the album, composed by Brian May. The lyrics are a bit atypical of him, since he began to write more mature lyrics. The song is a possible continuation of She Makes Me. Seaside Rendezvous, written by Freddie Mercury. It has a very fun interwar style. The kazoo in the middle of the song are Freddie and Roger's voices. The Prophet Song, a great composition by Brian May. He composed it while he was recovering from hepatitis that he contracted on a tour of the band in the United States. At over 8 minutes, it is Queen's longest song, Love of My Life, composed by Freddie Mercury for his girlfriend at the time, Mary Austin. Good Company, a Brian May composition, evoking the 1940s, demonstrating his skill on the ukulele and the versatility of his guitar, the red special imitating wind instruments. Bohemian Rhapsody, regarded as a Freddie Mercury masterpiece, the song is made up of what was originally 3 different songs, which Freddie was able to seamlessly connect. Roy Thomas Baker recalled the day, shortly after recording began, when Freddie sat down at the piano to play his latest composition, and after 3 verses suddenly announced, "Now, darlings." This is where the opera section comes in. Baker would later describe Bohemian Rhapsody as absolute madness, but add, "We couldn't stop laughing. It was basically a joke, but a successful joke. Joke or not." And despite initial resistance from the record company to releasing a 6-minute operatic rock track as a single, Bohemian Rhapsody went on to sell over 1.25 million copies in Britain alone since its release on October 31st, 1975. It would top the UK charts a second time in 1991, upon Freddie's death in November that year, and has been repeatedly voted the greatest song of all time in a multitude of polls since. History has shown that the song, considered something of a joke in its initial form, went on to become Queen's best-known and best-loved composition of all time, which is no laughing matter. Freddie Mercury, vocals, piano, composer. Brian May, guitar, orchestral backdrop. Roger Taylor, percussion, composer, executive producer. John Deacon, electric bass composer. Roy Thomas Baker, producer. David Costa, art direction. Gary Lyons, engineer. John Harris, equipment supervision. John Reed, management. Bob Ludwig, mastering. Justin Shirley Smith, audio supervisor. Chris Fredrickson, audio restoration, audio supervisor. Mike Stone, executive producer.
Thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, please comment, like, share, and subscribe. See you next time.